everybody. Welcome to the Hustling Sideways podcast. I'm Allen Halas. I'm a music writer.
And I'm Jim Love, and I'm a keynote and motivational speaker.
And this is the Hustling Sideways podcast. And when we don't have guests on, we talk about things that side hustlers go through. People with passion projects, people with their own, thing going on outside of their 9 to 5 as well. And today we are talking about something that I think is super important, especially now because we're at this point in like the year where like hiring is happening, and people are moving, transitioning out of like graduation, out of their summer mode into like the fall. So really, when you think about like transformative ages and things like that, I think 18 is like a big milestone.
18 is significant,
and so. Today we are going to talk about what we would tell our 18-year-old selves. And I wish I would have had some of this advice when I was 18. I already know you're going to have something great for your 18-year-old self.
Well, now I feel pressured. But
well, you know where I get the inspiration from this is you always post stuff on Facebook that is like old statuses from like your like 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Where you're like...
Y'all need to know this one. Yeah. So I put up a status every day from the years 2006 until 2009.
Okay.
Every single day.
So that would have been... No, you would have been past 18 at that point.
16 till 19.
Okay, so
roughly.
yeah. So in that age.
Yeah. And so right there, but on the most... I mean, my life was inconsequential. Nothing I did mattered at that time.
They're never great ones. They're always...
And there's some that are just like...
Jim Love
quoting Soulja Boy,
Yeah.
as a lot of 2007 things. But if you... hit me up on Facebook because I would happily add you to this. But I get a memory every day, and that's what Alan's referring to, which I like that you took a more reflective version of this versus the way I take it of like, oh, I had a wild night when I was 17 at a homecoming football game. It was
right,
great.
Exactly.
But no, it's important. I do love this because like I should probably talk on the mic. Reflecting back on this is really important because you see how far you came, and also. I think it's important to realize that you have no regrets. It's
right.
like, obviously there's things you could have done, but everything happens for a reason. But I think it is cool because you can look back and be like, yeah, like I wish I would have, recognized that the majority of stuff I was doing, the people that I knew didn't matter. Like just keep on going. So I'll start. I'll kind of give, when thinking back to 18 and moving into a dorm at a certain school in Milwaukee called Marquette and really not, I went through, and if you've listened to the show for a while, you know that when I was 16, I went through a leadership seminar that really kind of changed my life and my view on leadership. And so I was kind of coming off the like coattails of that 2 years before and sort of was riding a high. I would say I was super naive, of course. But I think I just needed to know, like, to really just trust my gut a lot more often. I think I a lot of times I felt like I should be in different places or, and it's just like the people that I had around me were good, to really just roll with that and recognize that like the best was yet to come.
Yeah.
And I there was, a lot of confusion. Like I was like becoming an adult and but I was having a good time and enjoying it, but was too nervous about stuff that didn't really matter. And if I trust that those paths I was taking and the people I was talking to were the right way to go. And it was all leading up to a great experience, number one, that was going to really lead into the rest of my life. But being 18 was so much fun. And I don't feel like I made that many mistakes. Like, I mean, I did some dumb stuff, like, honestly.
I mean, everybody does.
Yeah, but not like something that was like unbelievable or I look back, I'm like, that was, really bad.
Yeah,
but
nothing life ruining.
Yeah, I was with the right people. I was focusing on the right things. I was, my leadership life, my faith life, they were in a really good spot. And I think a lot of that was about to get extended. And I was about to learn a ton. And it's kind of like, just go. Like go and continue doing what you're doing. But I also kind of feel like I did that. So it's funny. I look back and I'm like, I wouldn't have changed a whole lot from what I did, not knowing, that it was just going to work out pretty well. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people would say it that way. And I'm really glad and thankful that I was just in the right place at the right time with the right people to learn a lot and to really get some good experiences.
Yeah. I think I would have told 18-year-old Alan basically something similar to kind of stay the course. Like, you are on the right path. You are going to do it. Because that was, I think, the biggest thing of myself at 18 was I was very unsure of the world. I felt like I didn't know anything. And I mean, like, literally up to the point where I graduated college. Like, the next day I walked around and I was like, I don't know anything that far. You know what I mean? Like,
course,
I learned a lot. I was in places, but I was like, I don't know anything. So I think I would have told 18-year-old Alan, like, who's, getting out of high school, going into college, be like, you are on the right path. You are making stuff. keep making stuff.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Keep
That's
trying
it.
things. The only thing I think I would have told myself though is to try more.
Yeah.
And to try
yeah.
different things that maybe I didn't, get into at the time. Like, I thought still at 18 I was going to be like a music producer. And actually I went to Marquette thinking I was going to produce
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
And little did I know that there really wasn't a focus on
Right.
that. I was more of like a video production specialist
Well,
at that
you know,
point.
and it's funny when we're saying this, we met each other when we were 18.
Yeah.
So I think back and
Oh,
I'm like, we were interns at Catholic Financial Life.
Yeah.
And I mean, we didn't know each other well.
Right.
But that's when we started.
Yeah.
It would have been second semester of for me, a freshman year.
So we would have been 18.
Yeah, and it's kind of wild to think back, and I remember long hair and
Oh, I still have
the
those-
Allen hoodie
yeah.
look. It was
Oh,
great.
yeah. Well, I still have that same look. I'm still the same person that way. But yeah, I wish I would have told myself basically to try more things, take more swings on stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe bigger swings, but also to just observe the world and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the things that happen in school are great. But like, it's not, you can't just rely on school.
Exactly.
I think the other thing I would have told myself too is it doesn't happen as fast as you think it's gonna happen. And that is honestly to this day, I am still that way.
Yeah.
Where sometimes I have to like pinch myself and be like, hey, like, yeah, okay, you're not here, you're not there, you're not huge with breaking and entering or whatever it is, or this podcast or whatever. Like, to tell myself like it does not happen overnight. It does not happen as fast as you think it's going to happen. But the ride is the important part, and because
enjoy it
you
all.
learn pieces along the way.
That's the thing. If I look back and yeah, probably another thing I would probably add is like to continue being a student, you know, like of not just your classroom, but like of life, and
world. Yeah.
really take away. I mean, there's just so much like between people and passions, and I think I was really exploring, this sort of leadership life, and I actually got my first chance to ever host something.
Yeah.
Was when I was 18.
Oh, really?
And it was a show on Marquette's campus. It was Pure Dance Marquette. Really good group of dancers. And they asked me to like MC their show. And
Yeah.
it was like, I was like, sure. I don't really know what that means. So I went out and like did it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't good, to be honest, but like I enjoyed it.
Right.
And I was like, okay, like that was fun. Like I could just go out and be a goof on stage, and like that set the stage. Well, I wanted to say something, set the stage for later without me really knowing, so it's like, do those things, continue doing that, and put yourself in situations where you may not come out on top, and you're gonna learn a lot. And I finished shows, and like the parents were not there to see me, but I had a good time, and I made a couple of them laugh, and I still know them to this day. They're my, so all those things are really valid.
Yeah, so many different things that I would tell, you would tell your 18-year-old self. Also, I mean, there's the obvious of like, hey, you should learn about stocks and put money in Google and put money in Apple.
All the things.
Because your iPod is going to be the most important thing.
That's right. Alan and I would make our 18-year-old selves filthy rich.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, no.
Can you imagine, like, if we're talking that, like, predicting oh, my gosh.
Yeah, like, just go back and tell yourself, take all the money you have, figure out how a stock works, and put it into that company that makes your iPod is going to be, or the company, that streaming thing that you're watching.
This could
Those
be good.
guys are going to go public. You should probably keep that.
Do not bet that parlay on Super Bowl 2022.
Oh,
Don't bet it, because it won't go.
Yeah.
And Travis Kelce will not get 8 catches, and here you are. That would be my other piece of advice.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to know, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? Because I think this is going to be a really good comment section. There's going to be probably people telling themselves all sorts of things that they wish they would have known back then.
That's right.
So, and if you want to check out more of this podcast, thank you for listening already. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us. We are on Facebook. We are on X now. We are on Instagram. I still have to get used to saying it.
I'm never going to get used to it.
We are also on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're the Hustling Sideways podcast everywhere. If you want to be on this podcast, go ahead, send us an email. It's hustlingsideways@gmail.com. And Jim,
I just want to be clear. I wasn't pointing at my foot. I was pointing at where a chair would be.
Oh, yeah. It would be there.
It was almost too close. I was like, that's my foot. Anyway, keep on hustling.
We'll see you next week.